And this is how we do it. And this is how we do it. Come on now. Come on. Yeah. 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 It's my birthday. It's my birthday. And this is how we do it. And this is how we do it. Uh-oh. Something happened.
No, everything look fine on my end.
I can't see it. Oh man.
It still says we're live on
All
my
right,
end.
y'all. Hold on. My screen then jumped all around. Don't go nowhere.
No, we still here.
And this is how we do it.
Okay.
YouTube, I hope we live. Are we live, y'all?
It says it on the top of my screen.
Because I couldn't see nothing.
It gave me a warning and everything like it normally
All
does.
right. Everybody else, you see it? It
Mhm.
say YouTube. Well, hello. What's up? How y'all doing? Welcome to the Donna Smith Show, Grown Folk Table Talk. We are here. Sorry, you guys. I got a little bit of a glare. Maybe I don't need the light on. I don't know because I got the sunlight coming into the window here. But we good. Welcome. I missed everybody. What's
Missed you
up?
too, Miss Donna. Good to see you.
Yes, good to see you too. We just man, we got so much to talk about and catch up with. I don't even know where to start. This definitely none of the shows are scripted, but we gonna be just bouncing off tonight. I'm not gonna be here too long, but I always say that. But then it get juicy and we end up, but it's all good. But anyway, I'm gonna be here. Sorry, y'all.
It's all good. You sound crystal clear. I have to turn my volume up a little bit. There is a
Yeah,
little if that bright light on one side, I think
that's what I'm saying. Why I'm
it's
so light?
that's a lot of light right there.
Let me bring it down. No.
And then my
You
light
know
is
what I think it is? It's the light coming in through the thing. The sunlight. Cause I'm right
okay.
by a
Well,
window.
well,
That's a
you
little
can't
better,
control
but it's
that.
still a little light. Welcome, 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 everyone. We are here live, our Grown Folk Table Talk. I'm so happy to be here tonight. I just want to welcome everyone to the show. We are real live talk on the spot, unscripted. So, excuse me if we kind of have a bumpy start, but hey, this is how we do it, okay? And we are here. So, I want to also say anything that we talk about and discuss is nothing personal to hurt anybody's feelings or to make you feel some kind of way or whatever. If it's any topic or any conversation that is rubbing you a wrong way, I understand. You can mute it, you can come back to it. We are usually on here at least an hour doing what we do, so it may be somewhere in there you can fit in. Please like, share, and subscribe. There has been a hiatus where I have been like, not here, but I have been keeping you updated with pre-recorded videos. But welcome, 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 everyone. JJ Shepherd, Garrett,
Hello.
I'm glad you two are here to join me tonight, and I'm pretty sure somebody else probably a peek in. But even if you're not live on the Zoom, it's okay because you can just click on and watch. You see what I'm saying? We know, you know who you are out there watching us do what we do, and it's all good. It's all good. JJ and Gareth, we have got to do our what? I ain't forgot.
But neither did I.
Oh, JJ, what you got?
I got me a nice Budweiser here. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, shoot, he got a
I
butt.
think I think it's good that you can't really see it. They're not
But
sponsoring
it's
this
a pretty
video.
bottle. It's a pretty bottle too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's
It's
nice, and I'm keeping it light. I'm trying to get off of hard liquor a little bit,
good for you.
and so this is a nice light
So we
beer.
gonna talk about that because I don't know what's hard and what's soft. Y'all gonna enlighten
Oh,
me.
okay,
I
okay.
just I just go forward when I do it, but I can't do a whole lot. But anyway, let's toast first, and we'll get right into it. Okay, toast to the hostess with the mostest on the show
Please,
here.
please.
Grown folk lady talk, grown folk table talk. Let's do it.
Mhm.
And if you out there got your little, it could be water, Kool-Aid, juice, beer, um, Hennessy, but whatever it is that, coffee, I ain't got no coffee going on, but I got a little something, just a little something, y'all, not much. But anyway, welcome, welcome. How has everyone been? I know you got something to share. If you want me to start, I can share a little something, something, and then we can get into it. Or y'all can start it off. How y'all want to do this?
Well, we haven't heard from you, Miss Donna. I would love to hear what's been going on. It's been a long time.
Yeah, you know what? Okay, let me start it off. I don't want to say it. I be done took up the whole show if I told y'all everything been going on with me. I didn't forgot how long it's been. I don't know really. I know it's been, let me see. I was in school for 7 weeks. So that was almost 2 months. And I
Yeah,
stopped the table talk show during that time. And then I think we missed a couple of weeks. It might have been what, 2.5 months, maybe close to three
yeah. I
months
want to say about 2.5 months, maybe a little
At least
longer.
2.5 months since we've been here
Yeah,
doing it like this. And I have been really, really missing it and missing you guys. I have wow, I know before school there was something else going on. I'm trying to remember what. I don't know if it was the medical thing. It was something happening that I've kind of lost it. But I've been doing a lot of extra hours at work. I will say that. Actually, yesterday was my seventh day working in a row. I was totally, totally tired when I got home yesterday. This is my only day off this week, and they can miss me with next weekend because I ain't. I
I
hope y'all
feel it.
see me. I ain't coming in next weekend at all. Okay, I got um vacation that I'm working on. I'm trying to get prepared for.
Mhm.
I love my cruises. I go on one every year. I love my cruises, but I'm gonna tell y'all, this packing stuff be working my last nerves. You know what I'm saying? And some people have a system, they boom, 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 get it. What I do is I put everything out that I kind of think is potential. I just lay it all over a bed in one of my spare rooms. Just everything's there, right? And then I go through my weaning out process. Okay, what am I really wanting to take? What am I, you know, kind of iffy about? Then what I really want to take be a little bit too much because you can't go over 50 pounds in your luggage. Or they want to be charging you some big, they want to charge you for that. So they weigh everything and have you take it out of one luggage, put it in another. It's crazy. So um I'm still at the process where the stuff is just right there on the bed looking at me.
Yeah.
I ain't did no win. I ain't had no time. I come home, I'm tired, whatever. I did a 7 week accelerated course for phlebotomy. For those of you, I had somebody on a post that say I had to look up what a phlebotomist is. I didn't know what is that. A phlebotomist draws blood. We draw
Okay.
blood in the lab when you go and get your blood work, your CBC, your A1C, your hemoglobin, your glucose fasting, those type of tests, your urine tests, your STD test, whatever you gotta do. Okay, you go to the lab, your doctor puts the order in, you go to the lab, and you have phlebotomists that draw your blood. Okay, I have been working in the capacity of a laboratory for at least 9 years now. In that department in the medical field much longer. And so it was just time to step the game up a little bit to have something else tucked under your hat, additional feather. I I am an advocate for that. Just do what you
Absolutely.
got to do to elevate yourself to be more valuable, more marketable. Now I can try to maybe reach out with getting something closer to home instead of doing this major commute. I have to go through training and stuff like that. Once you get I took my state license. That was very stressful. Last time I took a big test like that was cosmetology some years ago. I passed that, got my cosmetology license, and now I had to do this in 7 weeks, 120 questions. And when I tell you a girl was, man, I was in the library on Sundays. I was studying every day. I was just, and I was doubting myself sometimes, like, okay, hold up, what you doing? You know what I'm saying? This is a bit much, okay? Because there's a
Right.
lot of stuff you have to learn, the heart, the veins, diseases. It's just so much. Veins. And so I'm proud to say I did pass. I passed with what was my score? I was a point under 90%. Um
That's awesome.
and so I just was I didn't know if I wanted to yell, cry, or what. I walked across the stage in my flaming red hair for y'all who saw the picture and this and this and that. But I'm so proud of me.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of anybody who tries to elevate themselves in a different kind of way. And then also on Facebook I was sharing some memories of post back when, and it's been like 15 years. And I
Wow.
posted that I've been doing this 15 years and I still have a host of followers that are still with me. And that just really makes me feel some kind of way emotionally. I'm so thankful. I'm so grateful. And until I drop, I'm going to keep trying to do. I was just talking to my music producer um shoot, maybe an hour ago about getting this CD finished. We both have had setbacks. There's been medical stuff, there's been stuff going on where it's been a delay in me finishing. I'm more than halfway through on my project and it's time to
Take your
finish.
time, Miss Donna, on that CD because CDs are back in effect because these corporations have been really greedy with the streaming. And so people are going back to vinyl and cassette and CD. So CD players are being manufactured again, cassette players as well.
That's good to
Vinyl.
know, JJ.
Yes. So this is the time to start getting back into that niche market where we can start selling CDs, physical media again. They thought that physical media was dead, but here we are. It's on the rise again because
And
of
and
Gen
and,
Z.
and mind you, streaming is
It-
great. I mean,
It's great.
I did one of my singles. I think it was a redo of my talks. Okay. And I ended up getting some digital download cards, trying that out. And I think that was around the time CD Baby was talking about no more, no more doing
Yeah,
this.
they did the wrong thing because it's a resurgence now.
I'm like,
There's gonna
CD
be a high
Baby, what?
there's going to be a
What are
high
you doing?
demand of people wanting physical media now. So they're
Yes.
going to have to open these factories back up.
So
Um,
I said, okay, let me try the digital down. I did that. It worked for some. Then some was telling me they were having a hard time downloading, clicking the link download. And I'm like, you know what? You know, and yeah, some people take the streaming part, and that's fine. You can get it digital download on all the different sites. But some people are still into wanting that
hey,
CD.
Miss Donna.
Yeah. Uh-oh, JJ disappeared on us. But
Sorry, can you hear me still?
I can hear you.
Okay, John Timothy just hit me up telling me to send him the code.
Tell him to check his inbox messenger. I sent the link. It's in there for him to go in his messenger and click on the link.
Okay, I wish he just, it's the same code. Here, I'm gonna just,
Ain't
it's
nothing changed.
right. I use the same code.
But so back to what I was saying, what
Right.
JJ is trying to, that's
Yeah,
my
sorry, I
wonderful.
didn't mean to interrupt. I
No,
just,
that's okay. That's my wonderful right-hand man right there. Yeah, they just the digital download thing. It's cool, it's cool. But I think that, having actual duplication of your CD, if you want to put your picture on there, if you want to, whatever you want to do. I think they should bring that back. That should be available by choice for people like me who like that. I
Right.
like to sign my CD cover. I like to be able to be out like Too Short back in the day and have some in my trunk and pull them out. Okay, I like.
Right.
Okay, not everybody is knowing even know how to stream. No, not everybody is capable of streaming. You have to be able to market things with a nice variety and balance for the whole audience. Everybody has
Right.
different wants, likes, and dislikes. So when they did that, I was like, what the heck is going on? So I'm glad you shared that, JJ, and hopefully they'll get back on the groove with
Oh
it.
yeah, I'll be on the screen in a hot second. I just sent him the code. I
Okay.
forgot it myself. I just typed it in and I got it right. And then I was like, "What's the code again?" So I went and clicked on your link, and
Uh,
so I got the code.
yeah, that's why every time I send you guys and I posted it tonight on Facebook where the link is there for people who
I just memorized it and typed it in, and I got it
good
right. So that's how I got
good
on here.
for you, because I ain't
So
even
he'll be
got it
on here in a
memorized.
minute. I
Good
just
for
text him the
you.
code.
And shame on John.
Oh no,
Shame on
he on his way.
I'm about to
Here we
blast.
go.
John, shame on you. I can't believe it. You
Well,
didn't
he said
forgot
his.
your code. But
Oh
anyway,
no,
back to that.
no,
So
his Zoom refreshed. He had to get a software update too, like all of us.
yeah, we have that's what happens when you go and they
Yeah, when
keep
you get the
changing it.
software
Yeah, they
redone, that's
keep
what
changing
happens.
these things. But yeah, like we were saying, it's this thing with the music thing. And that's something that, that's I'm very passionate about that. I'm passionate about this. I'm passionate about so many things, and that's wonderful because some people don't even know what their passions are, right? So to
That's
have
right.
these different hats. So I got to get that music thing finished. I'm more than halfway through. I am going to for sure have it done before the end of the year. For sure.
Exactly.
My goal
Yes.
was to have it by this summer, but I'm going and I was gonna, do a single or two. But no, I want y'all to have this whole thing because you know what? It is juicy hot. And when I tell you this, I finished 7 tracks and it is on fire, each one of them. And I'm going to make sure that I do some really great writing to finish this up and give y'all
Right. That's right.
something that you've been missing. And what I do love is being able to wear the different hats and the different variety. I got something for everybody. So don't think they all just hot and sizzly like that, y'all. Some of them ain't, I know some of y'all ain't into all that juicy, juicy hoochie coochie. I get it. I get it. So I give you a little something else too, so you can think about some stuff. My words is fire. So anyway, so that's what's been happening with your girl. And I'm so sorry again. I apologize for the long stretch of delay, but you guys, I'm gonna tell you the only way I was able to pass that class and that state board test is to just focus totally on that. It was hard enough having to go to work for 40 hours a week and still do that. So hats off to the struggle is real. But that's enough about me, you guys. John Timothy, shame on you for forgetting your
Hey,
link.
bro. Nice to see you.
No, what happened? I had to upgrade stuff, and everything is saved in there. Even all my work meetings stuff and everything. And
Oh, so
it
you had to. They made us all kind of.
They made us
Zoom
all
erased
upgrade.
all of it.
It
I
So
had to
I
erased
had
upgrade
it.
my.
already I had already been upgraded, but it went to do some little update and it
That's
got
what
dog
mine
it
did.
and it erased all my meetings, all my meeting codes and everything.
I'm sorry that happened to you because it
And
kept
so
mine. It kept all my meetings.
no, I when I upgraded to the workplace, that was fine. But I just did this other upgrade or update rather because just Zoom is integrated into some other programs with work and stuff.
Okay.
So when they did that, it just wiped everything out. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well,
And
we're
that's
glad
why.
you're here. I'm
Well,
glad you
I'm
reached
glad
out.
you're here.
I'm glad you reached out to JJ. We were just getting a spill of caring to share, and I just shared my spill of everything that's been happening to me. And I'm so thankful for you guys, and so thankful to be back here doing what I do, what I'm passionate about, and just bringing that fire, you guys. We are here tonight just to let them know we still here, and
Yep.
we gonna be
Mhm.
here. Ain't nobody going nowhere. I know y'all thought
Mhm.
bye 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 bye, and not here. Who else want to share? What's been going on with you?
Well, I'll start. I
Wow.
got my car out the shop finally. It took
Yay!
almost a year, but
Wow,
it's
you got
working.
everything fixed with it? Everything running good?
I got it running so I could finally register it because remember I had it. It went in the shop before I even got a chance to get it registered, or it broke down before I got a chance to register it. So it's sad since winter. And then remember I got injured, so I just let it go ahead and just sit there. Um, my taxes couldn't even cover it. I just used one of my checks, one of
One
my
of your
to
checks.
pay
So
for it.
was it
Yeah,
worth the
when my taxes came through, I was pretty mad. I was like, but I was like, okay,
you getting it fixed? Sometimes they
yeah.
say if it costs more than the car is really you know, really worth it.
Well, I got it to where it can run for now.
Okay.
It needs additional work before it could be road ready to my standards. So a regular person be like, whatever, I'll just take it as it is and just drive around everywhere with that raggedy issue. You got to consider, if you don't fix certain things, you can mess up your gas mileage and the way your tires
Exactly.
are and alignment, all kinds of stuff. So I'm gonna get everything handled little by little now. I can do it, but I just got the major stuff done first, and
Okay.
now it's sitting outside, so that's good. And then I'm thinking about if I once I get this car fixed, coming out there to see y'all. That's in the works. I,
Hey.
I have a family member of mine that is really sick right now, and so
Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah, I appreciate it. But that'll be an excuse to go ahead and come out there and see them.
Okay. So
For
you may
maybe
so
I'll
you
be out there
talking about in the near,
in the
before New
near future
Year's?
this year before I don't want no snow to hit the ground before I come
Okay.
out there. So that's the
Okay.
goal. No, I don't want no coldness jumping off because I'll be
Well, I'm gonna
driving
make
out there.
sure I see you. I'm gonna get John and
I'm
Gareth
gonna give
and
y'all a heads up and
yeah,
everything.
we
Like
going
at least
and maybe perhaps Ben and we're going to all have to meet somewhere and have a little, dinner or something like that, or
that's
come
right.
together. We're
Mhm.
gonna make it. We gonna make it do what it do. Trust me. You ain't gonna be here and nobody clicks. Ain't that right, Gareth?
Man,
And I want to say happy anniversary and happy birthday to Gareth's wife that just passed. And I was talking to him before the show. I thought they were married like 15 years or so. He told me, what, 27 years?
yeah, yeah.
They have been
Congratulations.
married
I did okay.
27 years. I,
Congratulations.
yes, I am so proud of that for you guys. And then you got married on her birthday, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so beautiful thing. I mean, man, and then I was telling him briefly, when talking before the show about it, I was like, it's hard to even last 27 months now with somebody, let alone 27 years. Like our
Yeah,
grandparents and our parents and my uncle and they had longevity. They had relationships that lasted forever. There was loyalty, commitment, trust, faith. Hard times you still was there. Good times you was there. Now it's like, and I was mentioned briefly to him. It seemed like people get married
When
for reasons outside of all that now. It's business. It's a business
yeah,
thing. Well, we
yeah.
got married.
That's
No,
true.
I ain't in love with them, but it was a win for me and a win for them, and all that come or it won't. But we got married. I'm like, Is that how it goes now? What happened to morals? What happened to commitment? What happened to love? You have got to have that love in there. You have got to have that loyalty and commitment. If it's on a business tip only, without those important factors and things, what happens if that business thing goes out the door?
Ain't
Oh,
none,
uh
none.
huh.
See, I like, me, I'm like this. When I took my mouth on this, I mean, no honor, no obey. A lot of people, they don't live by their mouth, you know?
Yes. To honor, obey,
Yeah, a lot of people don't do
till
that.
death do you part, all that stuff, right?
Yeah,
Those vows, right?
right.
Yes, that's right. Yep,
That is
that's
so
right.
meaningful that some people don't even pay attention to. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, okay, now if we're sitting up talking about getting married for business and there's nothing else there, and the obey, the sickness, till death do you part, something happens where I lose a leg, anything, Lord forbid. Can I depend on you to be there to help me through the hard times and not just the good times? What if our business end up folding? What if the money
That's
was
right.
here today and gone tomorrow?
Yeah, you know.
What goes
Hmm.
up must sometime come down, right?
That's right.
Things change, things shift. We see it in the news every day about people who are billionaires, you know, that's
Yeah,
getting ready
even
to get
billionaires is getting
convicted for some
divorced.
lifelong things, and all that money and stuff they had. What happens to it now? First off, you're going to use a lot of it to try to get your butt out of jail if you can
Hmm.
with these lawyer fees because they going to juice you up, right? And that's a win or a fail. I mean, you may not. What if your money's gone? Your lawyers don't give you your refund if they don't win the case,
That's right.
right? So
Hmm.
where is that loyalty and commitment then? You know, so it's just I just my hats off and everything. I just really respect and appreciate to see couples that stay together for such a long time and still love each other and still have that commitment and that glue,
And
even
to
though
add
times is
to
hard
add,
at times.
if you don't mind me adding to that, I've been with my partner for 8 years now.
Oh,
So,
congratulations to
and
you
and and in
too.
my special community, we call that we already married. You know what I'm
Yes.
talking about? That don't
Hey, what
that
happened to is it still a such thing as common law marriage or
yeah.
something?
There's a such thing as common law marriage. So
So if you've been together, is I thought it was 10 years. Is
I
it
thought it was 5 years. I guess it depends on which state you're in. California would say we're already married, kind of. We're
okay?
common law
So where
married.
you're at
Yeah,
now, 8 years is
yeah. I'm beyond the 5 years. So
wow.
yep.
Mm, that's a good thing. I mean, that 8 years is a good
It
thing.
ain't nothing to sneeze at. This been a an interesting 8 years to say the
Of
least.
course. I remember
So
my grandparents used to tell me they was together a long time. She was 13 and he was 21. And
wow.
he died at 80 something years old. And my grandfather and my grandmother, I think she was in her early 80s too. But um I used to say, how in the world? You know, and they make it clear that it ain't always peaches and cream, baby.
Mm.
It ain't gonna always be, the honeymoon stage per
Yeah.
se.
There's a few Mary J. Blige is not gonna cry and Shantae Moore bitters up in there.
That's right.
Look it up for the reference.
Uh-oh.
If y'all don't know.
We'll talk about that on the next show. For real,
You
real.
know, I gotta have a music reference for everything.
Make a note of that. We have to get some information. Talk a little bit about that next week. Okay, okay. But yeah, so I just wanted to touch on that and ring uh Gareth and his lovely wife's bell with that, and anyone else out there who's celebrating something, anniversaries or you know graduations or whatever it is. Even I hate to say, but some are celebrating divorces.
Yeah, I've heard of divorce parties where they get a whole cake from the bakery and balloons. They go
People
all out.
actually have parties. You hear me? You hear
And
me?
I'm like, what?
They have divorce parties because they are so happy to be done with that mess, right? And to move on with their lives. And they celebrate it.
Mm-mm.
I don't know. That's a good thing. I
I,
don't
I
know. What y'all
I
think
can't.
about that? A
I'm so glad
divorce
I can't
party?
relate to that.
Huh?
I'm so glad I can't relate to that.
Yeah, I mean, I've been married and divorced. I don't think I would want to have a party though.
That's a bit much right there.
I just don't want to see you no more ever. But I mean, it just depends on what the divorce was about and what the break. Just like in any relationship, it takes two people. I'm not gonna just blame it on one, but usually it's a domino effect. One person starts something and then the other person, no, you ain't gonna do that to me. No, I'm gonna do this to you. Or you did that. Oh, I'm gonna do that too. You know what I'm saying? Or you hurt
They even
me.
got the
Okay, well,
nerve.
we gonna play this game. I'm getting ready to hurt you, and they
They
go
even got
back.
the. They even got the nerve to have a divorce cake topper on there, like little mean scenes on top of the cake. Yeah, they go that
Really?
far with it. Yeah, it's a thing.
Oh, that's crazy. What you think, John? You think divorce parties is a good thing?
Well, I ain't for divorce, so I
Yeah.
can't say the parties because I'm just, it
You'll
goes
just
back to
choke them
when
so
y'all
they
was
can't breathe
talking
no more.
about
You ain't
people
going
being
nowhere.
together.
You with me forever.
Oh
You
shit.
stay right here.
That's one thing I wouldn't want is a hostage relationship. Somebody
No, no,
kicking
no.
it.
Some people will say this. Look, you better
Some
make
people
sure you know
kick
what
it.
you're doing because I'm not divorcing. I'm not divorcing. You better make sure you know what you're doing because you ain't going to, I'm not going to. And they mean that.
Yeah, but that's some loony. That's something crazy. That ain't no morals nowhere in there. But the simple fact is, I mean, if a person don't ain't feeling you, then why would you want them to be around? Why would you want some artificial affection and love or what have you? And really, how do you call it if it don't exist? Call it that. But what I mean by divorce is, it's about putting in the work and everything. And I'm quite sure Garrett them put in the work. You
Mhm.
gotta put in the work through whatever it is. That's how you prevent the divorce, continue to be trustworthy and things of that nature. That all comes from putting in the work. People say, "Oh, yeah, you gotta be honest. You gotta do," but that's part of that's just the attributes of putting in the work, you know. But then y'all mentioned earlier about knowing somebody. A lot of times, like if you said if you were sick, you know, a lot of times before it even come to that, so say for instance you're going through something and someone checks on you, want to make sure you're okay, you're well, how you healing, whatever. Them are kind of gives you an example of where that person's character is when it comes to that.
Yeah, I
you
agree.
know them are kind of, but when you have things that you have not, I'm not saying everything is going to be revealed, but there's going to be something that's related to that. Even if you see a person upset, look here. If I was dating some woman and I seen her get upset at her best friend and throw a glass at her, oh hell to the dog.
Mhm.
That's a sign that you throw ashtray or something at my butt,
Right.
and no telling for what reason, so it's them kind of things. A lot of times we look at the situation, oh yes, they were mad at their best friend, but no, let's look at their actions. How did they handle them situations? And a lot of times folks see that stuff and they either try to calm the person down, come on, yeah, she crazy or whatever, whatever, and they be with that person. Then when that person is acting like that in the relationship, they act like they
Mhm.
don't know where it came from. You know where it came from when you seen them do it before you got together.
Yeah. I mean, they say pay
Yeah.
attention to the red flags.
Well, no, not pay attention to the red flag. Just pay attention. And as you pay attention, you'll know what the flag, either red or green. Because you can't see it. If you gotta, it's not like everybody has red flags like that, that are just out there. Some things you may not agree. But when you pay attention and you pay attention to how a person may talk to a friend or a family member or how they may act at the store, the person accidentally, rang up their item wrong. Do they go off and go crazy when the person try to say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I rung it up"? Them are the things you got to pay attention to how people
Yeah.
behave. It's the
Yeah.
behavior, and behavior that's the main thing that leads to everything. A person could be off drugs. They could have been off drugs for 10 years or whatever. But if they continue to practice this behavior that was related to that, the percentage is that they're going to fall back in to what they're doing
That's
because
true.
of the
What, they gonna go
behavior.
back into using
They're
drugs?
gonna relapse.
Because
Yep,
of
that's true.
behavior.
That's the
It
truth.
comes it comes from behavior. Just like I,
Hmm.
I think I said this before. Person goes into the bar and they say, "Oh, I didn't know you drink. You smoke." "Oh no, I only smoke when I drink."
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? But they
Hmm.
don't smoke. That's part of the behavior. So when you have things that's tied in or related to whatever was holding you back or was a struggle for you, you have to be careful how you um, continue in that behavior, because then the possibilities or the percentage of you falling back.
Yep.
And
So it
that,
really just pay attention.
yeah, that's very true. And that has a lot to do with people not identifying or dealing with their issues, because most have something that they're dealing with, right? So you're not
Right.
identifying or working through your issue, and then you go into the next situation carrying those same temperaments and traits. And you know, the writing was on the wall, like John say, pay attention to how a person acts when the flag is green, when the flag is red. You know, there is different temperaments. Now, people will say, I've heard people say, well, no, I would never do that to you. No, they just pissed me off. And I had to go there, but I wouldn't. No, no, I love you. I
Mhm.
would never. They'll say what they would never do to you, right?
Hmm. That's right.
But they did it to them. So
Mhm.
what is the line? How do you know you will not do that to me? I just saw you literally slap the dirt mess out of somebody that pissed you off, and I thought it was something that could have been handled differently. So what if I end up doing something or saying something that hits your trigger? You gonna slap my teeth out too?
And you had to also take in consideration, like you mentioned, sometimes people come out of relationships and they haven't dealt or closed whatever they was dealing on. So there's a difference when people come with baggage and when people come with uh,
That's
character,
right.
because your baggage could,
Wait. Reverse. When they come with baggage or what else you said?
so you can have a person like when you mentioned about they've come out of a previous relationship and they haven't closed whatever they were dealing with, or
Right.
even the forgiveness of that person, however you want to call it. Okay, so then they come into, now you coming into a relationship with two things. You're coming in with baggage, and you're also coming in with your character, your behavior rather. So if the behavior is good, then the baggage is the thing, okay, the closure. Then you have to look at, okay, now what are they exhibiting, or what kind of behavior are they exhibiting that seems
Right.
like they're not one who let goes, who they are one that seems to be more full of animosity and want revenge, or or they remain, even if the other person is wrong, they keep themselves stuck in this victim state, so they bring that to the relationship, and then anytime something is done, they're such the victim, but they don't look at their role or their place. Because we all play a role. Now, it's not saying that your role or whatever your lines were bad. It's just that we play a role. But some
Mhm.
people, they
Exactly.
they bring baggage and behavior, and it's no that's double trouble. You know, that's like dealing with two people in one, because you don't know where they're coming from. You don't even know if one is baggage and then one is their behavior. You just so messed up. And
Mhm.
and a lot of times when people can't get to a closure of something or what have you, this is why when you have a situation in a relationship, there's a discussion that there's a disagreement or whatever. There needs to be a discussion about that right then and there. Hold that, forget it. Okay, we cool, whatever. Then something else come up, and then you kind of do the same thing. You pity pat around it, and then something else come up. You pity pat around it. Then you have this other argument, and you want to go all the way back to the first thing, you know, because you can't
Mhm.
never solve nothing because you keep bringing up everything, instead of solving, so
That's a
they
great point right
continue
there, not to
to
cut you
carry.
off, but there are some who will go back to 1999, something you did that you way forgot about, and they will bring it up back in 2023 and want to rehash that. They never got over whatever that was, or never dealt with it, or never, there was no closure to it.
But a
It's
lot of times
baggage.
it's not them getting over it as well. That's true what you're saying, but there's also is because we never closed it. You never got what you want from me regarding, and I never got from you what I needed regarding the situation, you know. And so a lot of times, yeah, so they come back 23 years later or whatever, whatever. Well, look how you did when you did it. And because there was never, and then we go, what? You bringing that up? Because sometimes one of us can't move on without really having that whatever. But the thing about it is, we still, each person, put it this way, each person, if we're going to talk about it, each person deserves to hear or to know, okay, where are we at with this,
There has to.
from
That's
each
why they say
side.
don't go to bed. Don't go to
Mm-hmm.
bed angry at each other.
That's
Talk
right.
about it, air it out. Let's get okay. Apologize. Whatever it is you got to do before you lay your head down, because this stuff festers and roots.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we push it down. Okay, I ain't tripping. Okay, whatever. I don't want to talk about it. Da, da, da. And it pushes down and it starts to root. And then you got other junk that gets on top of that, and you get a bigger root too. Sooner or later, that volcano or that tree is going to erupt and everything comes out. A million things come out. Stuff you had forgot about comes out.
I
Yep.
like how you see it. like a tree. See, so what happens, the first thing, if you don't deal with it, okay, it sits there like a seed, right?
Hmm.
Germinates. Because it's going to continue, it's going to germinate, and it's going to grow because it was never killed. You see what I'm saying? It was never dug up and dealt with. So then you have that growing. Then you have all these other seeds growing. Then you have whatever this tree growing, and then you have all these branches, twigs, so forth. And then you got leaves that grow on it, and then they fall, and you too busy dealing with the fall, with the leaves that's falling. You have no chance of getting to the twigs, the branch, and the base of the situation,
Hmm.
because you have allowed this to grow and all these things branch up off of it. And I think a lot of people mistake or misunderstand what closure is. Closure is when you both come to a conclusion or understanding that you got from each other what you needed regarding the situation, and you're able to move on. Sometimes, if you can't do it with that person, then you have to do it individually. You have to do a self closure and say, okay, even if someone done you wrong, and or even if you have to forgive that person. You don't have to be able to, you don't always have to tell that person, because the forgiveness starts in your heart. So therefore, if you forgave that person in your heart and you go on, then you can have some self-closure. But when it's two people dealing, trying to discuss or resolve a situation, both of them have to come to that point. Other than that, one is going to, it's that unevenness. There's no
I
Right.
agree.
balance. There's no
That's
balance.
right.
Because one is closing and another one still got their foot in the door.
And you're gonna
Um,
have a
may I
doggone
also
shipwreck.
may I also add, um, the best apology is changed behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Let me say it again. The best apology is changed behavior. You can say I'm sorry, I'm sorry all you want to, but then you're gaslighting and you're not changing your behavior. There's no accountability, nothing. You're gonna go back to this the ongoing cycle. So um that's that's what my
Say it one
main
more
thing is.
time. Say it one more time.
The best apology is change behavior.
Thank you.
Change your behavior. You gotta change your habits. The way we were communicating before isn't gonna work. We're gonna have to try something else. I have to also be willing to listen. I'm willing to listen and be accountable for my things and my setbacks. And I'm willing to do that. Now, is the other person,
Not
are they willing to
always.
change their behavior?
Not
You
always,
know,
because a lot of times it's some are struggling with even identifying that they have an issue. They want to point the finger and blame everything on the next person.
that's right.
They're not being held, they're not accountable for their own actions. It's always you.
That's
Now,
right.
deep down inside, they may kind of think, but they're stubborn, they selfish, and it's all about what the next person. So when you're dealing with that, you're at a lose lose. It's like, how are you going to step forward and rectify anything when you got this person that's always blaming you for
That's right.
everything and not being accountable? So then what happens is resentment sets in because you start to keep the peace. You start saying, all right, you hear people say this sometimes. All right, whatever. Yeah, it's my fault. It's always my fault. All right, whatever. And they really are bitter and building that root inside because they know it's not them, but they take it just to move on to have that peace. But it's really not going to be peace because that's
That's
going to
right.
come out sooner or later.
Right. You
Yep.
should never wear a jacket that don't belong to you, that you did not earn. Never
That's right.
wear a jacket that you did not earn.
So then what
I will.
happens? You're back and forth fussing and cussing out each
You
other.
make a decision, then you have to really weigh out. You see, because if we can't come to an understanding, of something, then I have to weigh out some things for me. This is when I have to look at things as an individual. Say that
Am
again.
I
What you
gonna
said,
choke you
JJ?
or
Uh,
stay
When
the,
married
the,
JJ
to
the,
you?
said
the best
the
apology is change behavior.
okay, behavior. Okay, so words, we all know we could be given words can be given to us freely, no matter what. We know from I'm sorry, I love you, or I
Mm-hmm.
care, whatever it is. Okay, especially when we meet someone, we don't really have a bar, you know, a bar to
Mhm.
kind of go by.
Mm-hmm.
We think we don't have a bar, but we do. See, the bar is their words. So if my word is, look it, I'm going to be honest with you, or I'm the type who don't do this, or I don't do that, or I do. Okay, these are my words. That's my
Mhm.
bar. My behavior should reflect what my words were. So,
Exactly.
and if
It
I am
should.
not reaching that bar, that's when it's like, okay, now I need to measure as an individual, you know, when am I going to stay with? Because I can see it. This is what you see it. This is what you see it, but you're not living like that. This is what you said, but you're not living like your
That's
behavior
right.
is not like that. But a lot of times is we know it's here, we hear the words, but we want to wait on them. We wait. Well, you didn't say that. And then they give us some more little what they call that lip service or whatever.
Yeah,
We get some more
yeah.
It
we
That's
ain't
get some
right.
called
more
no
of that,
lip service.
and we
Come on now.
settle with it because we hoping a person will do this or do this based on what we want. The thing is, if you don't see what you think you see in the person, or if you see the opposite, rather, what you thought you were seeing, you holding on and waiting for that person to change like that or to come around. Now that's when it goes into dealing with a person. How is that person? Is that person dealing with, being alone, da 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 there? Are they thirsty? Whatever, whatever. But as one who is paying attention in a relationship, that you involved in, you need to pay, like they say, it's the littlest things that will reveal so
That's
much.
right.
It is
Mm-hmm.
the littlest
Absolutely.
things that will reveal so
And
much.
you're
know,
absolutely
just
right. It's the
saying,
littlest
you
thing.
know, someone who can, just want to make sure you're okay. The littlest things. I ain't trying to call, but because a lot of times you can be involved with someone, and I don't care how long would you been involved with them, they should still be concerned. Are you okay? How you doing? Good morning. What's going on? Whatever. It should still be the same. Bill Withers, I forgot who what he say. Woman gotta have it, but and he talks about, I want to say that's what he talked about.
Oh,
Uh
okay. You,
that's not Bill Withers though, but he say, we hear it before, right, Garrett? You keep her the same way you got her, you know, or you
hmm
got them. You keep them the same way you got them.
It's gonna take
So
the
that's
same way you
you
got.
can't
What's
to
that
keep them
saying?
the same way you got them to keep them,
Keep it.
and
Yeah.
you can't and you can so you can't sit up here and show concern or like, oh, yeah, I just want to make sure, and then all of a sudden y'all together and hey, what's up?
yeah.
You don't know where you been. I've been gone for 3 hours. You ain't trying to check on me. I was just going to the store. You know what I mean? So
Right.
we have to really pay attention. We have to pay attention to the sales pitch. See, the sales pitch is, I'm doing all this now. I'm doing all this now. But after I sold you the product, don't come back talking about you want a refund or it's defective.
That's right.
that, that's not what I'm doing. I'm not giving out warranties.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what it is. And people, man, I'm gonna tell you, there's no rule book on this stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's life be lifing and life lessons. And you have to live and you have to learn. Just like what works with Gareth and his 27 years of marriage may not work for the next person. He can
Right.
give
Well,
some good advice about some
right.
things,
That's right.
communication and this and that, but some of his stuff may not work for that next friend, best friend that's coming to you with, you know what I'm saying, Gareth?
Yeah, yeah,
And maybe you've had that. You know how you sometimes you have a friend that come to you, but well, what is it that you do? Why y'all ain't never? Why y'all? They situation is totally different.
yeah.
That's why you don't get to run in your mouth all the time with your friends about this, that, about that,
Right.
all your stuff,
So I had to learn
because
the hard way on that one.
you learn the big hard way.
But
Yes.
Okay.
see, a lot of times is be folks like this is where we gain wisdom, though, a knowledge. We get it from those who are wise, wise who have come from the experience or who have been given the knowledge already. You know, because the thing is, you can have an idea on how you're supposed to, you know, I have the knowledge of I'm supposed to be faithful in my relationship. I'm supposed to be this in my relationship. I'm supposed to be this in both. I have the knowledge, but you don't have the wisdom to be able to use that knowledge. So this is why we listen to folks who've been experienced, who've been through things. Yes, certain situations may not be the same, but it's something in there that is positive, that is the right thing that I'm going to be able to use, to be able to go for it. Because a lot of, like they say, you can have all the knowledge in the world of something. You can tell a person, what is this? It's a screwdriver. What is this? It's a nail. What is
Mm-hmm.
this? It's a hammer. What is this? It's a wrench. You say, okay, I want you to drive this nail into this piece of wood, and then the wrench seems heavy, the hammer seems heavy, you know, or
Hmm.
the screwdriver seems heavy, a little lighter. So they figure, oh, I'll take the lighter and just tap on it with the screwdriver because they don't have the wisdom and the understanding to how to use the things that we're aware of. And that's
That's
the problem. People know, we have some morals in our heart that's just like there because we witness things. We may not have see it as strong, but all it takes is one time for our brain to get that stuff. And we have the knowledge of it, but we just haven't had any wisdom or anything to use it. Folks be in relationships and they want to be in relationship, you know. They want to be in a good relationship and stuff. But it's just the fact that they got to put up with everything else because the other person who seems like who knows what you want a faithful relationship. And they know that. And they just can't do right because they don't have the wisdom.
So,
that's right.
so would you say a younger couple going through less wisdom is gonna make more mistakes than an older couple that has wisdom but only been married for a scotch of time? Maybe they've only been married 3, 4 years, but a younger couple that's been married 10 years because they don't have the wisdom.
You know,
Is
when
there
I'm,
gonna be a
because
difference?
what I said about wisdom is wisdom we gain from listening from those who's been experienced and stuff, and we take also the wisdom from what we've been taught or certain things like off experiences, our own that we've been taught through our experiences as well, you know. Because I know a young couple, my favorite young married couple, my niece and nephew. I mean, they're my favorite married young couple, and they are amazing parents. Amazing parents. They have an amazing marriage, you know, and the trust and respect for one another is just amazing, you know. And um so it see, we have to understand it starts at the beginning, the decision. When we decide to be
Mm-hmm.
with somebody, right? Okay, I decided to be with someone. Now, what comes with that decision? I can decide to be with anybody I want to be, but my behavior, my actions can still be tore up from the floor. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So it all comes down to decision on how we do things, our integrity, and and a lot of times it's how do you see yourself? Because if you don't see yourself as one of integrity, one of trustworthiness, and so forth, then you're not gonna be like that. People can beg you, please, I need you to be honest with me. For now, okay, baby, I ain't gonna never lie. I ain't gonna never lie to you again. You know, but you
Right.
don't believe in yourself about
They
that.
gonna say they ain't lying. I ain't lying to you.
And they don't
I'm
believe
telling
that
you
they
the truth.
because
I
that
ain't
person
lying
don't
to
believe
you.
they can tell the truth. And probably, the cold
Lying they
part
butt
about
off. Just lying. Just lying.
because when they can look you in your, and people say, I don't see how they can look me in my eye and tell me that lie, because it's a lifestyle.
Mhm.
Some
It's a
people can
lifestyle.
cry. Some people
Yeah.
are very good
It's a
actors and actresses.
lifestyle.
If
Shit.
you are just a liar and a
Shoot.
cheater, but you are opportunist, it's
Yes.
gonna all just, you know what I'm saying? You can make it. They need an Oscar. They need a Grammy Award for how they can roll things over. And a lot of times, that manipulation is what gets a lot of people. They're being manipulated and don't even know it by someone who is an opportunist.
Yeah, that's the cold part.
And
That's
that's
called
Being
the
business.
hurtful, cold part.
being in a relationship that you did not sign up for.
You did not sign up for that. You signed up for love, cherish, loyalty, respect, moral. You signed up for all these things. Some people wait. Some people wait a lifetime. And you finally get somebody you think you can fall into this with, and they turn out to be the biggest pimp you've ever met in a lot of ways.
You know what your key word was? You think.
Thank.
This this is why we go back. We go all the way back to paying attention, being involved. You got to communicate. You ain't got to see a person all the time. You know, but if you communicating, trust me, you be surprised the visual of a person you can see through their words because
That's
their
right.
words should be consistent. See, when a person is lying or they're a salesperson or whatever, they never are consistent.
That's
They're not
true.
consistent. Now they can give you this
You be like,
somewhat
what?
similar pitch, but it ain't the same.
You be like,
You know,
they didn't really say that,
right,
that.
right. You
They
know,
said
but
something different. And then you be questioning yourself, well, am I tripping?
I'm gonna tell you, you can talk to a person and they'll say something, and you kind of know in your heart, I knew they'll say something like that. Sometimes you'll say something to trigger them to say something because you know they'll say it. That's when you're knowing a person.
They
That's
just
when
need
you're
to shut
paying
up.
attention to what's going on. And you're not saying nothing to start no mess, but you saying something just so they can say, oh girl or oh boy, you crazy, because you know that's what they'll do, because
Mhm.
they're
Look at Gareth
consistent
shaking
with
his
it.
head. Gareth, you do that to your wife? You
No,
know
you
one
don't
thing
play
about
jokes.
Gareth, he know what not to say and what to say. Because you don't
Nah,
want to get in trouble. You
No,
don't
nah.
you
want to
don't
sleep
say
on the
nothing
couch.
wrong.
You gotta
You don't say nothing wrong. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying is you can say something, put it this way. You know to say something that can make that person smile. Let's put it that way. That
right.
means because you know the person. You don't have to think. You know.
That's
Right.
right.
You know. You don't have to think. You know. I know if I do this, that person is going to smile or that person is going to dance because they dance when they get excited about something or whatever. That's what I mean when it comes to knowing compared to thinking. because yeah, I've been in some thinking relationships. I thought and I thought and I thought and I kept thinking that I thought and I thought, and what I come to find out was I was wrong. You know, so thinking
Maybe
relationships,
you
they'll
thought
get
too
you like that.
much.
The thing is, it was not that I thought too much. I was thinking wrong because my thinking, I need it. It needs to. I could think that a person, but it needs to be something that says I am some assurity, something that says I know I can
But that
trust
other
in
person
this
has to
part.
give you that, right?
Well, that comes from you paying attention. So if you paying attention to that person, you know that person ain't gonna give you that or is not gonna give you that. So that's
Hmm.
something that you not anticipating. You're more or less saying, okay, that don't exist, and you check it out and you check it out and you go, okay, that don't exist. Oh damn, they putting holes in the wall over something stupid. That don't, that all comes down to
Yeah,
paying attention. And I've
yeah.
been in some
It's just
relationships
too much.
where I pay
It's just too
attention.
much. I just think it's too much. It's too much. You got to worry about yourself, and then you got to be worrying trying to figure out somebody else too.
Well,
Well,
I have a theory. I hate to
What?
say it because it's, I hate to use them as a reference, but it, and you're probably gonna laugh when I say it, but Will and Jada is a perfect example. Uh, Will, see, I knew it. I knew it. See, it comes from that knowledge. I knew beforehand because I know this group, right? It's like we've been in a relationship together, right? I know how y'all gonna react to certain stuff that I say, but I'm using them as an example. Will Smith said, "I'm not responsible for Jada's happiness if she's not responsible for my happiness," right? And
Right.
that's how they worked it out. That's how they worked it out. That template don't fit for everybody. But I thought about it for a second, and I was like, what if I applied that to my life? What does that look like? If I decided, okay, I'm not responsible for the other person's happiness, they not responsible for mine. So if I'm responsible for my own happiness, am I gonna pursue my happiness or am I gonna work on their happiness? There's a lot there's a lot of layers to somebody else's happiness, right? That they've been through. There's their whole life experience that you might relate to it, but you don't know everything about it because we weren't raised like them. You didn't grow up with them, so you can only know so much.
So
So
there's some
so
that's where I'm
truth
then
coming
in
can you be responsible for somebody else's happiness?
from.
no.
No.
There's some
I
truth
mean,
in which
can you?
Will said. This
That
is
right.
the
That's what I'm
thing.
saying. There's some truth to it.
You have to be responsible for your own happiness first.
Your happiness.
Right.
Your happiness. So if I'm
Right.
But how
responsible
can you
for
be
my happiness,
responsible for their happiness?
well, I'm not responsible for it, but I should be bringing happiness into their life. I should
Right.
be adding
There's a
to their
difference. There's a
happiness.
difference.
I
There's
Right.
a
agree with that.
difference. So the
Yeah.
responsibility, so if I'm responsible for my happiness, this goes all the way back to where we started. Then I'm going to pay attention to how these folks is because I'm not going to let no bull jive keep me from being happy, interfering with my joy. So this goes all the way back to where we started. So then
That's
if a
right.
person is staying in a relationship and they know all this stuff is going on, they're not being responsible to their own happiness. They are actually trying to be responsible for the other person's happiness, and they're living in misery. See, and
So they're
that's
putting
where
too
the
much
confusion
focus on trying to make sure that other person is
is
right
a
before
piece.
themselves.
Right,
Right.
exactly. And there's no way. So therefore, even if you are happy, making that person or that person so-called feel happy from whatever you're doing or whatever, you still cannot function because you're not in the right state. You cannot think clearly. You cannot make so not thinking clearly, therefore I can't make the correct decisions. And in my not being able to think clearly, I can't even see like the things I need to see. Or I can't even interpret or define whatever is going on around me because I'm not in the right state. So it has to start with
It
you
starts
are
with you.
responsible for
Yeah.
you. You're responsible for you.
But
You
some will
know,
say that that's being selfish.
how is that?
Okay. See,
How is okay?
I,
How
Some
is
will
that,
say
that?
that,
you
that,
just
that's why I
worried
brought it up.
about
I'm so glad I
you
brought
just
it up.
worried about you and you not
Now,
worried
now
about
that's a
me.
different. That's a different. See, that's one thing about words. People gonna use words, and remember, we use them. They're only defined according to their usage, right? So don't sit up and say I'm only gonna worry about me. I do worry about you. I do have concern for you, or whatever. Because I say I am responsible for myself. I am responsible for my own health. I'm
Right.
responsible for my own joy. I am responsible for that,
That's
you
right.
know, but that doesn't mean I cannot add, I cannot pour into your joy, into your happiness, into your life or whatever, in whatever way. See, there's a difference than being, then that's why when people say, you know, uh, I, about 50-50 or whatever, whatever. No, 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 no. Everybody needs to come with $1. That's the bottom line.
Hmm.
Because if you at 45 cents, that means I gotta give up 60 what 55 to get you to your 100. You know what I'm saying? And that's not what we about to do. Because once I give up your 55 to get you to your 100, now I'm at 45. You know what I'm saying? And you
Hmm.
not get no, no, no. We both need to be at 100. We both need to be, and what is at 100? That means I'm responsible for me and I'm giving all of me. It's going to be everything about me, all of me, you know. But if a person talking about, you ain't trying to do this for you ain't this and this, wait a minute now, you know, let's be careful. Let's be
That's
careful.
real. That's
That's
real.
why
I'm there to
That's
pour.
relationships
real.
is so hard. And I respect the 27 years, the
Yes.
15 years, the
Kudos to you,
8
Garrett.
years. I respect that because it is such a hard journey. You know, Gareth, in your situation, 27 years, it starts with you first, right?
Yeah,
Because if you ain't right, you can't be right for her
right,
in
right.
no regard. And it starts with her before she can be right for you.
That's right. Yeah,
You okay with that?
yeah, yeah,
And that obviously works because
Yeah.
27 years.
Yeah, but a lot of times when you do what you're supposed to do, it's not hard. That's the cold part. Because I hear a lot of people, man, I got aunt, they've been married, they were married when they were 20 or 19 or something like that. They're in their 90s. They've been married for 70 something years. You know
Wow.
what I'm saying?
So long as my grandmother has
The
been
all
alive.
is the thing. The thing is just doing things together, the right things, doing it, and it's a lovely, no problem. Not saying you don't run into differences or whatever you want to call it, disagreements or what have you. But it's the fact that when you're both working, it's not hard. And we make it hard because it goes back to not wanting to take responsibility for our actions or not wanting to be being honest with the person. Shit, be honest with me that you're not honest,
Yeah.
or whatever, or what have you. And or folks want to give up over the littlest things. like you say, you're gonna have little arguments. That ain't no, you know what, forget you, walk away. No, let's sit down and talk about this, and let's come up with ways,
Yeah.
to respect each other, even if we have to have a talking stick or something. Let's come up with ways. When folks are willing to compromise and come together like that, things work.
And
Things work.
that's that compromise. That's
And
that
like you said, is
accountability. That's
start
that,
start with the person. My
yeah.
prayer all the time, and I don't care. Lord, continue. If you have not already, continue to mold me. Because my thing is, I want him to make me the man that or continue to develop or continue to whatever the man that he knows will be that is fit. And I know he's molded me and shaped me to be the man, to be a faithful man, committed and so forth,
Mm-hmm.
in a man of integrity in a relationship, you know, because I know when you are recognizing the things in you and the shortcomings or whatever you may have in you, when these changes and things come about, you're able to see it. You're able to witness for yourself within, and other folks see it without you even having to say something.
Mm-hmm.
So my thing is always going to start with me, and my prayer is always as I'm talking, continue to make me the man you want me to be. Because see, continue to work on the man that you have me as. Because if I'm the man that I'm supposed to be, everything else is covered.
Mm-hmm.
Me being a good father, me being a good person in whatever relationship, me being a good friend, me being a good co-worker, me being a good
Mm-hmm.
worker. It all falls in.
It all falls into place. Yeah, that's wonderful. That's good stuff, y'all. Good stuff.
Yes.
Somebody needed to hear that. Okay, I want to drop in on this inquiring minds. Want to know right quick before we
And-
end the show. I
Okay,
have
excuse
one
my
that's
lighting.
in.
I gotta fix it real quick. My lights on my tripod went out, so I'm about to fix it real quick. While you, I just didn't want y'all to be distracted
Okay,
by that.
it's a short one. It
Okay,
has a little bit to do
yeah,
with
it's
some
just real
things.
quick. I'm just setting up another tripod with the lights, and we good to go.
It seems like it's not too dark though.
Yeah, there we go. I can attach this, and it'll be stable.
JJ got a whole little
I
thing.
got a whole setup over here.
It looks like you got it going on over there compared to the last show we was on. You had a couple.
Oh yeah, I done went. Well, since I got injured, I've been Amazoning like crazy. So
Yeah,
since yeah, we're good now.
you done got it real cozy up in there.
Yeah, I have the whole house is fully decorated. I have like 3 bedrooms worth of stuff in a 1 bedroom apartment. So we gonna have to move soon.
Yeah, y'all need a bigger place.
Yeah, we need a
Yeah,
bigger
so
place.
you can make it happen.
But
But this is
but
short and sweet. I don't know if I did this one before, but I saw this here and it's kind of in the zone of some of the things we was talking about. But okay, it goes like this. My lady proposed to me to marry her. I was confused, but I accepted. I was told that this is a thirsty move.
what?
I'm 38 and she's 45. Should she give me a ring if I say yes? And should I consider this a red flag? Hmm, a red flag.
First, how's it a thirsty move if you're already in a relationship with the person?
Because I guess traditionally,
Um,
the man asks the woman to marry. So the script has flipped. She's older and she has asked him to marry her. So he's having a hard time, because it's out of the tradition of how to deal with this. Is she just trying to lock me down because she's older and want to hurry up and slam dunk this 38-year-old? And because the men, when they ask you to marry, they put on they have an engagement ring to ring place on you until you marry, and they put the other piece on. Well, do she get him a ring or he get her a ring, or how does this thing happen? This is some of the stuff he's concerned about, and should he consider this a red flag?
My question is, what he say yes for in the first place? Let's start there. What you say yes for, and now you got all these questions later. That don't make like this triggers me because I'm 38 myself. So I'm like, so I'm like, I'm like, where are you going with this, bro? Why you asking questions? Why you
I
say
guess
yeah
he
and then
loves
you're asking
her,
all these questions
and
later?
it was just the thing to do because I love you, and wow, kind of flattered too, I guess.
But you didn't want to embarrass her or something? Is that what it is? Y'all was out in public at some
That's
restaurant,
that's a
and,
question
and,
right
uh,
there.
and she get on her knee and she proposed, like you know, but I've seen it. It seems unusual. It's not traditional, but a lot of women are proposing to their
Mhm.
man. I've seen it recently.
That's what I wanted to ask.
It's,
Is this a norm
it's not.
now?
It's not really. I won't. I don't want to say it's uncommon because I'm seeing it more and more on social media. It wasn't something that you saw, because
It's
social media.
happened it's happened times ago because not only that, Red Fox actually said, because part of that the Sanford and Son show, the name and stuff is around his real father's name and
Okay.
stuff, right? And some of the things. But he mentioned also that one that they used on there where the woman told him they're going to get married. That was that, you know. Now we're going into, and it goes back to like JJ said, okay, why did you say yes? And if you love the person, it don't, if the person say, hey, I want you to marry me, what's wrong with that? Now, when we get into do she get a ring and do I get a ring, we got to be careful about so much, towards trying to stick to the traditional traits of it and get rid of and get away from the principle of it. Because the principle of marriage is for the two to become one and be united together as one, right? So
Mm-hmm.
if we getting away from, well, the ring this and ring that, well, shoot, we're already away from what the marriage is really about. If
Yeah,
we
because
struck
he said he thinks it's a thirsty move.
in a thirsty move, but you've
What
been
are you
with this
talking
woman.
about, bruh? A thirsty move?
Now
I'm
I could have
offended.
seen if she first
I'm offended.
approached him. He never was seeing her. And he said, oh, yeah, this lady approached me at the restaurant, and said, you know what? I'm gonna I just met her one and I want to get you this car. That might seem like a thirsty, but you've been in a relationship with this person. So thirsty is nowhere in the door.
Right.
So
But
that's
but
eliminated.
traditionally, should she just had waited
But
until he
forget
asked
tradition.
her?
Forget tradition. That's the problem. We get so caught up with tradition.
But I think
And guess what?
some men would rather be the ones to ask.
I think
Okay.
that's ego.
That
That's
that
ego
right there
love.
deals with pride and everything else.
Yeah.
Because trust me, you know, if that's the case, if what men are we talking about? Because there's a lot of men who, okay, so we gonna be selective. Oh no, I'm the one who gonna ask her to marry me. I may have to borrow some money from her because I ain't working right now. She paying all the bills to buy the ring. I'm just saying,
Hey, hey,
you
they
know,
got they got passenger princess and they got passenger prince. But
right.
the two can exist.
But it's the thing is, it don't matter
Wow.
if a
JJ,
woman
hush
said
your
to
mouth.
me, I mean, I actually would feel. I would feel honored, flattered, and okay. If a woman said to me, you know what, I want you to marry me, because especially when you kind of know where a woman stands on marriage, or on the relationship, and she said, "Would you marry me?" I'll shit, and if I love her, and who knows, it probably was my thought already. He beat me to the punch. So what? So what? If I don't love her, see, is forget if she asked me or not. If I don't love her, I need to give her an honest answer.
And what would that be?
If I don't love her, I'm not gonna marry her,
You
That's
just would
right.
tell her, you
because
just
that's
would
not
tell her
right.
straight up, no, no, I
I
can't.
would say no. I wouldn't marry you, and explain, because my feelings aren't there at that point. You know, I
Make sure
wouldn't,
you're in a
why
public place
lie?
first.
And if she's mad or whatever, or upset, but I'd rather her be upset than me lie to her, and then it be something else that again branches off of that, and branches off of that, and then we got leaves all over the ground, you know. Uh-uh.
Back to that tree.
But if I love her too, and she say that to me, shoot, I'm gonna feel like shit. I got a good one. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Especially if I already know her, it ain't gonna bother me. I might say, "Yeah, I'm alright." And baby, you know what? I'm gonna go get you a ring. What's wrong with that?
That's what I'm saying. So who gets the ring?
Well, if we concerned about tradition, or or what have you, then I'll go get a ring. Just because she asked me does not mean I can't get her. And if I say yes, that does not mean I cannot get her an engagement ring. That don't mean she got to go get me a ring. Oh, so since you asked me, you got to buy me a ring. That's petty.
Well,
That
that's what
sound
he's
like some.
asking. He just
Nah,
want to
that
know,
sound
does
like
that
that
change the
sound
Yeah.
like
tradition?
that's petty. That sound like some other
So
stuff.
Gareth,
Like,
if your wife had to ask you to marry her, would you have to still went and got the ring?
No, let me add me to man.
You want to ask her.
I want to add her.
Okay,
yeah,
so if she would have asked you, would that would have been a gameplay? I mean, game change? Like, would you had to just said,
no,
no?
what would you have say?
Well,
I would go there. Maybe I wouldn't add you the name, you know?
You're right. Yeah, just turn it around,
Yeah,
and there's nothing wrong with that.
and if
So
you
it's
wasn't ready right at that time, you would have waited until you was ready.
that's right. Yeah.
That's interesting. Even if you knew and felt in your heart she was the one,
I wouldn't. Maybe I don't think I'm ready to get married yet.
you not ready. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, because if you know the person is the one, this is the one for me, then you're already at a state of you're ready.
right.
Hmm.
You're ready because you're looking at this person to fit into that readiness. Is this person going to fit into this readiness state that I'm in? But if I'm not ready, I'm not. Most I would say is, oh, she's a wonderful woman, and yeah, she'll make a good wife. But
Mm.
if I'm not ready, I can't sit up and say she's the one for me. That would be contradictory. If she's the one to be my wife, then why I'm not ready to marry her? You know what I'm saying? I'm really contradicting. It's kind
Well,
of a
I just
way.
think that the woman should just wait. Shit, just wait
Yeah,
till
but a lot of women,
let
you
him
know,
ask
a
you.
lot of women
I
need
don't
to,
like that.
there's nothing
I don't
wrong
like
with
that
women
thirsty
speaking
statement.
up.
That
Yeah,
thirsty
that's what I
statement
didn't
don't
like.
sit right with me.
Yeah, when they appear to be too like some is like too worried with everything, and I mean I don't know. Like John
When
said, it could be flattering and things of that nature,
Yeah,
but it depends on the circumstance. If it's somebody you just been knowing for 3 months, that's truly could be, because you can look at that as they're being thirsty, I guess.
Yeah.
but we have. Why? How do we put a time frame on how people feel? We say, "Oh no, someone should be together this long." or this long before they do something, before they do. You got people who've been together years and ain't got married, ain't got nothing, got all kind of other junk going on, kids all outside the marriage and everything, outside the relationship, everything else. The
And
thing
a
is
couple of
this,
dogs too.
if your heart is at a place and you say, hey, and I don't care if it's the man or woman, and you say, this is how I feel, I want to marry you. Express it. See, this is the problem. We don't want to communicate in certain ways, and we think that it has to be a certain way that we communicate. The only way that we should be communicating with is honesty, with our heart
Right.
and
That's right.
honesty. So if I'm being honest, I'm going to say, you know what? I would like to marry you. You know, if I'm being honest and the person says to me, will you marry me? And I'm being honest about how I feel and everything, yes, I'll marry you. Now, I might say, okay, but check this out. I might drop to my knees and say, will you marry me? You know what I'm
Okay, I
saying?
like that. I
Or
like
what
that.
have you. You know?
And
Or I
they
might
used to
say,
say,
I'll marry you if you marry me. You know? Or what
that's
have you.
right.
It ain't gotta have no tradition. We get so caught up on doing things a certain way because my mama did this, people did it, and that's how they did it, and this did it. And everybody, you have a lot of people who done did it that way, and guess what? They ain't with that person no more.
That part.
You know, oh, the marriage, it was lousy from day one. Shit, I should have went on my honeymoon by myself. You hear all them kind of stories, you know? But because it wasn't about the unity, the unity, people decide it don't matter who brought it up, then we decide together that this is what we're gonna do. It
I
don't
get
make me
that. I
less
get
than a
that, but
man.
I think you should traditionally let him
Okay.
ask you. I mean,
You
I
know, a
guess
lot of
it's,
women waiting for him to traditionally ask.
and what
Hello.
happened?
Hell, they still waiting.
That
Hello.
means he don't want to ask.
You know what?
So
Because you
what
know
makes
what?
it the
He
difference?
probably he
Because she
probably don't
asked, he
know.
gonna say
No,
yeah?
but this the thing. You know, they tell you in class, ask the question. Don't be ashamed to ask the question because you might be asking the question for everybody in the class. Well, that person might feel that way, but don't know how to say it. We don't know the person, the individual. So because it's on your heart, should you hold it in? See, that's one thing we shouldn't be doing because then that's an exercise for you to start holding back other stuff. You know, if it's on your heart, on your mind, you share it. You know, tradition has got a lot of things. We got us all, a lot of us messed up in and
Mm-hmm.
outside of the church. Tradition,
I
tradition.
I hate to say this, but in regards to tradition, I've heard a quote, and I'm probably gonna misquote it, that tradition is following the rules of dead people. And when I heard that,
No,
I busted out laughing. I was
someone
like,
has
"Oh
said
wow!"
that. Yeah. See, now let me tell you. All tradition is not bad. Some tradition is good to help keep order or keep some decency, some understanding about things. But there's not a 1, 2, 3 ABC thing about it when it comes to folks. See, folks keep trying to make relationships mechanical, and you need to stop that. It has to deal with your heart. And if it's not geared around your heart, if it's geared around your heart, then it doesn't matter how the union came together.
Mm-hmm.
That's
It
right.
doesn't matter if she brought, guess what? She said, hey, I want to marry you. That don't mean let's say, that don't mean she proposed. We could take it as that. She brought up the subject that she would like to marry me. And I might say, well, shoot, baby, you want to marry? Well, here, will you marry me? I mean, there's so many ways we can look at it. But the whole fact is, what is it about the union? Tradition, 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 tradition. That's why I say it's messing up a lot of us in our homes and in our churches. Because even in the church, tradition. You come to church. I came into the church one time because I didn't have on no black jacket with a pencil tie, looking like or whatever. But you don't want me to you invite me to come preach, but you don't want me to preach because I'm in some blue jeans and some Stacy Adams with just a button up shirt. I ain't got the black traditional outfit on. But it's not about that. It's about the word, right? So it's the
That's right.
principle. What is the principle? The principle is the marriage, not the ring. Because a lot of people have been proposed to and have not gotten a ring at that moment. Hello.
Mm.
That's right.
Hello, they may not get one for a couple of years.
Well, we're not. That's true too.
They
But
pockets
does
may
it
be
takes
kind of
away?
light.
But does it take away the union? And
No,
that's the
it
thing.
don't. It's just
And,
a ring.
right. And the preacher always says the ring symbolizes.
It
It does.
does. And I
But
mean,
and it's
I would like for me to have a ring at
oh yeah. And that would
but
be
I mean, if
right.
I had to wait until we can get one that, he really wanted me to have and I really wanted to have, I would wait. It wouldn't make or break me saying no, I ain't marrying you because you ain't got a ring. But
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just an old fashioned traditional girl. I just feel like you asked me to marry you. If you don't have a ring right then, we going to the store on the weekend and we gonna go pick me out something.
You
Me and
know, I
you.
I know
Me and you
guys
gonna
who
go pick it out.
proposed
Okay.
and felt bad because they couldn't have a ring. And they really wanted to get this person a ring, but they in their heart they really want to marry this person, you know. And they feel you'd be surprised how many men who have gotten rings but wish they could have got
You
that
can go to
one
Walmart and
that
get a gold band and they only
I
cost
got
like
that.
$98.
But like I said, you got the men who may go to Walmart, get that $98 band, but
And that's a start
still,
off.
but some men still remember that ring they left inside that case that they wish they could have got you, you know. So it's not like men don't want to deal with that or
Well, then
whatever.
he just need to work on getting it. It ain't like he can't get it.
Well, hold on. We don't know that. Remember, we just talked about sometimes money can be funny. It ain't that so a lot of times a man's money can be funny and he wants to do things. A lot of times a person wants to propose, but they feel because of their financial situation or whatever and all these things, so they don't say nothing
Well, that's
because
gonna be a
we've
topic for
we've
another
we've
show.
gotten
Cause
into that social
I don't know if you should be.
thinking.
I don't think you should be getting married if you that low with your finances
Well, I
like
didn't
that.
say that low.
Maybe you should wait.
I didn't say that. No, you sometimes they could be deal. See, we can't put what it is. We got to remember each person's bank account or whatever they got is suited for that person, not for somebody else's relationship.
Right, I get it.
You know what I'm saying? So based on their relationship, they might say, well, you know what? I don't feel like it because then we might have to move. And then some people feel like, they get funny, behind all kind of other things because they so stuck on how, oh, traditionally you should be doing this, traditionally you should be doing that. And at that moment, but then, okay, I can't do this traditionally right now. That just don't work for us. Just like traditionally, folks should be getting married in the church, so called. But we don't get so picky about it when they go to City Hall or they go to Vegas. Oh, y'all got married? But then we get traditional when it comes to the ring or who said what or what have you. See, we can't pick and choose and things like that. Because then again, we get away from the whole focus, the whole principle, marriage.
That's
That's right.
right. Amen. So when y'all talk about getting married and stuff like that, just stay focused on the focus.
So focused on the focus.
All right. Don't be tripping on no rings and stuff. He may not can get you a ring right off, girl. Just be patient. And then, if you a woman and you gotta ask him to marry you, I don't know how that
Wait a
goes.
minute. It ain't that you
Cause
got to
don't no man
ask.
wear no
Wait
engagement
a
ring.
minute.
We
No,
can't
well,
do
we ain't
that.
saying that. We ain't saying putting a ring, and we ain't saying if you got to ask. If you're a person and it's on your heart about how you feel, you should share it.
You should share it.
That's the bottom line. It ain't that you
You
got
should
to.
say something like, honey, I've been with you 15 years
Oh,
and I'm
girl.
ready to get married. What
Each
you
case,
think?
case by case,
And he gonna say, "Well,
case
baby,
by case,
I'm still trying to get it right, baby. I'm trying to get it right. I love you though,
case
boo.
by
We
case,
good.
case by
We
case.
good, girl. We good. Soon as I get it right, we gonna do this." And then she gonna feel like this, and it's gonna
Oh,
be a
no,
problem.
no, no. We don't want to make case by case by
So
case
when he
by
comes out and
case.
acts, he's ready. You know he's ready. You didn't have to coerce it, or whatever the word is.
Wait, why,
You ain't
when the
had to
woman
get it out. You know
asking,
what I'm saying?
is
You know what I'm
coercing?
saying, JJ? You know what I'm saying
No,
here?
why, when
Yeah.
the woman is asking, is coercing, or she's being,
Yeah,
or
coercion.
she's
You ain't
forced
got to
to, or
coerce,
she have to?
coerce.
Why a woman can't just say, "Baby, I love you, and I would love to marry you," or "I would love for you to marry me"?
No, usually
That's
they'll say something
okay.
like, "I love you, and I don't know why you ain't ready to get married. I don't know why you ain't asked me to marry you yet."
Well, that's not the case with this couple. She said, "I want you to marry me," or
She
"I
did,
want to marry you."
and he
So,
said
and there's
she was
nothing wrong with
thirsty.
that. And don't let pride, ego, like JJ said, don't let pride, ego, and stuff dictate how you're supposed to get down, or anybody else's so-called thoughts or whatever behind it. You follow your heart, and you do just what it is. Because it's a lot of folks still waiting on tradition.
Yeah. See,
Hello.
I don't get that part. I'm gonna let that stay right there. He's saying it's folks waiting on tradition. So people who got traditional views of
No,
things,
no, I'm not saying that.
like Gareth said, he ain't waiting, but he said he wanted to be the one to
But
ask his wife.
and that was fine. But you got to understand, each individual, right? You started out earlier. Whatever worked in his relationship may not work in
Exactly.
everybody else's,
Exactly.
right? So is the individual. If the individual is at a place and this is what it is, but the problem, like I say, the problem is folks not sharing how they truly feel. If you're tired in a relationship, you need to explain that. You need to say, "Hey, I'm not happy in this relationship."
And why
And
you
it's,
not happy, baby? What you gonna say then?
then
Cause
you
you ain't
tell them the
marry
truth.
me? Cause
No,
you
you
ain't
tell
marry
them
me?
why. You tell them, well, if that's the case, but then it's like, what do you mean why I ain't married you? Now we going into a whole couple of things. Because a lot of times before it even come to marriage, there's some type of conversation that took place about people being together and deciding to stay together. And if it came from, okay, you might well move into here, conversation. It's some conversations, some things that took place. But the whole fact is just being honest and open about your feelings.
Honest and open. So what advice we give this person?
With pride, like JJ said it the best way. Put, put that thirsty is not no place for the thirsty, and put that
Yeah.
ego away and put the ego aside.
Right.
If you love the person, if you love the person, if you said yes because you love them, then move forward. Go ahead and say, okay, baby, now I want to ask you to marry me, whatever you want to do, but move forward. If you love that person, move forward in whatever way y'all gonna move forward.
Amen.
And this is what I
Thank
mean
you.
by tradition.
I
Don't
like
let
the way you put that
tradition
together. That was
stop
perfect.
you.
Just move forward.
Move
Yes.
forward.
So ladies out there, if you want to ask him on one knee to marry you, girl,
Nah,
just
you
do it.
ain't gotta get on one
Girl, get
knee.
on one knee and be. I hope you ain't got no osteoarthritis in the knee and it's gonna hurt you. But just put a pillow down there if you have to. But just get down there like he do and ask him, girl. And then he'll go on and do it. From there, he'll take it from there, right? He'll
And
decide.
obviously
Yeah.
consider who you're proposing to, because you obviously don't want like you don't want somebody like the subscriber that or whoever who asked this question here. Uh, you don't want that to backfire because
Well, I
yeah.
mean, I can see the brother was just confused because he's from tradition. He's 45. He's from
No,
tradition. His
he's
mama,
No,
38.
his daddy probably asked his mama, his grandmama
he not
asked his.
45, he 38.
He 38. She's
And we
45.
don't
But
know,
Oh,
we
wait
I
don't
a
know
remember.
minute.
what
Did
is
I
the
get it
background.
wrong?
Yeah, I wrote
Yeah, you
notes
did.
down.
She
Yep.
She's
45, he
45 and he
38.
38. So he ain't really understanding too much the game.
Nah,
I
Like
some
got
of them
notes here.
he
understand.
just know what mama and grandmama and all them did.
Folks
Mhm.
understand. Folks understand.
He ain't used to that kind of get down.
Folks
So he
understand.
looking at because people probably been teasing him about her being a little older, and he probably
That's what
saying,
I forgot to add that part to
Oh,
it.
yeah, he
please.
probably saying,
He
Ageism
damn,
might
ain't
is
be an
left.
issue.
she
He ain't
trying to just
left.
snatch a young brother up, and she
I
being
wonder
all
how long. I
thirsty?
wonder how long they been together
They didn't
before
say
that
that
even
part.
come down. See, these are them are key factors right there. Because if you still with somebody, you don't care what somebody said about how old she is or whatever. What that matter? That don't matter.
Well,
7
he
what?
mentioned it,
seven
and
years different.
then he
Yeah.
gonna ask, "Is it a red flag? Why it gotta be a red
Why it
flag?"
gotta be a red
Maybe
flag?
That
he
was
had
my
a couple of fags waved when he was 35 or some
Okay,
shit.
now
We
we
don't
go
know.
back. Now we go back to close them
Or
chapters
maybe
from
they
that
just been
old
together
stuff.
6 months. We don't know. We don't know.
Why he say yes, like JJ said?
And maybe
Why
he
did he
wants some
say yes?
kids, like
yeah.
two
Why
or
he
three
say
of them.
yeah?
Like JJ said, why did he say yes?
Anyway, we hope y'all work it out. Ladies
Yeah,
and
that's
gentlemen, we have come to
we
the
mean
end of our
well. We
show.
mean well. Of course, I'm gonna talk a little smack.
We mean well. JJ talking smack. Gareth doing what he do. He just taking it all in. Like, he ain't trying to say a whole lot when we get talking about this kind of stuff. Cause he like, where wife he at?
Yeah, correct. Like I'm in mine.
I know she listening. She gonna get him. He can't do. He gotta be good. He gotta be good. John. He gonna just give it to you straight with no chaser.
No chaser.
He ain't
How
having
they
no
need to
chaser.
get it.
But I just want y'all to know that I do appreciate each and every one of you. We have come back, y'all. Tonight we went longer than whenever I say we ain't gonna go long, we go long. But this was our first show back in union for since the last 2.5 months. So we just chopped it off. We went with it however it went. And that's what I love about this panel. And anybody else who would like to be a part of our panel, you're always welcome. Just make sure you know the link address because John got a little confused. But I know y'all gonna know the link address because I do post it. I put it out there. Click on it. You can always email me if you need to know. And we are on YouTube Live with this. And it is shared on other platforms as well. Please like, share, and subscribe. And we will be back next Sunday. We will
Okay.
be back next Sunday.
And next Sunday, that would be the
Is that July
sixth.
4th, 5th? What is
That's the
that?
sixth. That's the sixth.
That's the 6th.
Yes, 2 days before my birthday.
Hey, you
Yes,
gonna be around? You gonna be around?
absolutely.
You gonna okay, good. I thought you may be at the club or something, dropping
Oh
it.
no, I'm staying at home. I'm
Okay.
not getting. I don't get paid till the next day after my birthday. So
Oh yeah, so you
yeah,
can't act
the
a fool
celebration ain't gonna
until.
start till after that.
Oh yeah, so we gonna be back here Sunday, y'all, cause
Right.
he ain't gonna have no money on that day. Now I can't do the show on Monday cause he ain't gonna be nowhere to be found. That's the right hand man right
I'll
there, right
celebrate
there.
all month anyway.
Yeah.
I got my birthday cake in the fridge now.
How old you gonna be?
I'll be 39.
Dang!
Yeah.
For real?
Yep, 39. Mm-hmm.
Wow, JJ, this the last of the 30s, my brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, we gonna have to do some little celebrating up on here. I remember them 30s. Them 30s was a woo.
I don't regret
Them
one day
30s
I
was something else, boy. Let me tell
these
you, all
30s
y'all know
made
what I'm
me.
talking about. Them 30s was some
These 30s was brutal, but they made me. I like it.
yeah.
I'm glad to still
And
be
now
here.
40's about to groom you, baby. You're about to
Hmm.
get groomed, baby. You're about to get groomed, baby. But anyway, thank you, John. Thank you,
Thank
JJ.
you.
Thank you, Gareth. Thank you for my viewing audience. We appreciate you. This is what we do on Sundays, Grown Folk Table Talk. I would like for you to like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend. Stop through. If you don't want to be a part of the panel, we get it. But please view it and share it. Tell somebody about it because we always got something stimulating to talk about. And I know
Mhm.
somebody needed to hear some of this today. Okay. So we'll see you guys back. JJ said it was Sunday,
July 6th.
July 6th,
Yeah.
7:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. All right now. See ya.